In a quiet town nestled in the mountains of Japan, an 82-year-old man begins his day the same way he has for decades. He sits cross-legged on a woven tatami mat, the morning sun filtering through the shoji screen. With steady hands, he prepares a bowl of warm miso soup, steams a bowl of brown rice, and gently sprinkles something special over the top, a handful of delicate, smoky flakes that dance in the steam. Katsuobushi, dried bonito, a forgotten treasure, rich with healing strength. This man's back is straight, his steps are firm. He still gardens every morning and never misses his afternoon walk. What's his secret? According to a 2022 study in the Japanese Journal of Geriatric Nutrition, certain proteins found in fermented fish like katsuobushi may repair aging muscles up to 10 times more effectively than common protein sources like salmon. While most of us have heard about salmon for muscle health, few know about this ancient ingredient used for centuries in Japanese kitchens. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching this from? And what time is it for you right now? Please let me know in the comments below. I truly look forward to reading them. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. Why do older Americans lose muscle so quickly? It often starts quietly. One day, climbing the stairs feels harder. Lifting groceries takes just a bit more effort. And slowly, the body you once moved with ease begins to feel unfamiliar. For many Americans over 60, this creeping weakness is not just aging. It's something called sarcopenia, or age-related muscle loss. By the time we reach 65, nearly 1 in 2 adults experiences some degree of muscle decline. This isn't because we've done something wrong. It's simply how the body responds when movement slows down and meals become smaller. The muscle tissue we built in our younger years starts to shrink if it's not consistently nourished and used. But here's something interesting. When we look at elderly populations in Japan, we see a different story. In Okinawa, for example, older adults remain active far longer. They kneel and stand with ease, cook daily, and tend their gardens well into their 80s and 90s. Their secret? It's not just exercise, it's the way they eat. Unlike the Western diet, which often relies on red meat, processed foods, and sugary snacks, traditional Japanese meals are centered around balance. Meals are small but nutrient-dense, filled with fermented vegetables, miso soup, tofu, and small amounts of fish. Even more, they follow a philosophy called hara-hachi-bu, eating until you're 80% full, giving the body time to digest and heal. What truly sets them apart is not just how much protein they eat, but the kind of protein and how their bodies absorb it. That's where the real difference lies. And that leads us to one particular food that's been hiding in plain sight. The Japanese superfood with 10x more protein than salmon. If you've ever tasted a bowl of miso soup in Japan, chances are you've encountered this ingredient, perhaps without knowing its name or its quiet strength. It's called katsuobushi, and it may be one of the most powerful, natural sources of protein for aging bodies. Katsuobushi begins as skipjack tuna, but it becomes something far more refined. The fish is steamed, then smoked slowly over wood for days. After that, it's fermented and left to dry until it's hard as stone. From this block, fine flakes are shaved, so light they dance when they meet heat, curling and floating like paper in the breeze. These delicate flakes carry an incredible gift, nearly 77 grams of protein per 100 grams, compared to about 20 grams in the same amount of salmon. That's almost 4 times the density, and because it's been aged and fermented, the protein is more bioavailable, meaning it's easier for the body to absorb and use, especially when digestion becomes slower with age. But protein isn't the only thing inside these whisper-thin flakes. Fermentation transforms the tuna into something more alive, full of beneficial enzymes and amino acids in forms that nourish muscles and support healing. In fact, a 2021 study from the National Institute of Health and Nutrition in Japan found that older adults who regularly consumed fermented fish like katsuobushi had stronger grip strength and better muscle mass retention than those who didn't. The difference wasn't just in the food, it was in how the body could receive it. Now imagine a quiet morning in Kyoto. An 80-year-old woman, sitting at her low wooden table, gently stirs a bowl of miso soup. She adds a small pinch of katsuobushi. As the flakes melt into the broth, they release not just flavor, but history, care, intention, and nourishment passed down over generations. This is not a protein bar. It's not a scoop of powder in a plastic shaker. Katsuobushi is soft, quiet, and deeply healing. It belongs to a world where small choices matter, where food is prepared with love and eaten with presence. In the West, we often chase protein in loud ways, shakes, meats, supplements. But in Japan, strength is built from subtle things. A warm bowl, a handful of flakes, a meal that feels kind to the body. For anyone over 60, seeking a natural way to support muscle repair and strength, katsuobushi might be the missing link, not just because of its numbers, but because of the way it's offered, gently, patiently, and with respect for the body's quiet needs. Why? This protein is easier for aging bodies to absorb. As we grow older, the body begins to ask for gentleness. Digestion slows. The stomach produces less acid, and even familiar foods may begin to feel heavy. For many older adults, protein becomes a challenge, not because the body doesn't need it, but because it can't easily take it in. This is where the quiet magic of katsuobushi comes in. Katsuobushi dried, fermented skipjack tuna is more than just a flavorful topping. It's protein in its most delicate form. Through careful aging and fermentation, the tough proteins inside the fish are naturally broken down into free-form amino acids, the exact building blocks your body needs to restore muscle. This means you don't have to digest it the way you do with red meat or even some protein powders. Instead, your body simply receives it. No strain, no bloating, just gentle support for tired cells that want to heal. Even more comforting is dashi, a clear, warm broth made by soaking katsuobushi flakes in hot water. It's light, deeply savory, and incredibly soothing to the digestive system. In Japan, many older adults begin their day with a cup of dashi, not just for the taste, but for how it awakens the stomach softly, without shock or heaviness. This ritual is especially important for those who struggle with low appetite or digestion. A warm broth doesn't overwhelm. It invites the body to open up, to prepare itself to receive nutrients. Now compare that to a cold protein shake, processed, quick, and often served straight from the fridge. While convenient, such drinks can be jarring to the digestive system, particularly in older adults. They may pass through without nourishing deeply, or worse, leave behind discomfort. Katsuobushi, by contrast, is part of a tradition that honors how food enters the body. Meals are warm, never rushed. Portions are small, thoughtfully prepared. Eating is not just about fueling up, it's about caring for the system that absorbs, transforms, and carries that nourishment through every cell. Imagine this instead. A quiet morning, sunlight through the window, a warm cup of dashi in your hands. You sip slowly, letting the warmth settle deep into your belly. No pressure, no urgency, just a beginning. Just a body being reminded how to feel strong again. This is the Japanese way. And for those in the West, especially those moving through the later chapters of life, embracing this softness can bring real change, because it's not about forcing protein in, it's about welcoming it, gently, wisely, and with care. Pairing katsuobushi with 5 Japanese foods that boost muscle recovery. In Japan, no meal stands alone. Each dish is thoughtfully crafted to support and complement the others, not just in flavor, but in how the body receives and uses nutrients. When it comes to muscle repair and recovery, katsuobushi becomes even more powerful when paired with a few traditional staples. Let's take a gentle walk through 5 time-tested Japanese ingredients that work beautifully with katsuobushi, offering a natural way to nourish aging muscles. First, there's tofu. Soft, silky, and rich in plant-based protein, tofu is easy to digest and gentle on the stomach. In Japanese homes, it's often served cold in summer or warm in winter, topped with soy sauce, green onions, and a sprinkle of katsuobushi. The combination of soy protein and fermented fish creates a full spectrum of amino acids, ideal for repairing tissue and supporting strength. Next comes miso. This fermented soybean paste is the heart of Japanese soup culture. Packed with beneficial bacteria, miso supports gut health, which is closely tied to nutrient absorption. When combined with katsuobushi in a warm miso soup, you create not just a comforting meal, but one that delivers protein, probiotics, and healing warmth in every spoonful. Then we have shiso leaves, vibrant, slightly peppery greens, rich in vitamin C and natural anti-inflammatory compounds. Often served as a garnish or wrapped around tofu or rice, shiso helps reduce oxidative stress in muscles, making recovery easier after physical activity, even something as simple as a walk. The 4th ingredient may surprise you: umeboshi, or pickled plum. Sour and salty, umeboshi is known in Japan as a digestion booster and fatigue fighter. It alkalizes the body, supports liver function, and when eaten with rice and katsuobushi, it forms a trio of balance: cleansing, energizing, and restorative. And finally, Japanese brown rice, unpolished and rich in B vitamins. Unlike refined white rice, brown rice provides steady energy and helps transport nutrients into cells, including the amino acids from katsuobushi. Now picture this: a simple meal served at a low wooden table in a quiet Kyoto home. A bowl of brown rice topped with tofu, a touch of soy sauce, and flakes of katsuobushi. A small dish of umeboshi on the side. A steaming bowl of miso soup with floating shiso leaves. It's humble, but deeply nourishing. It's soft, warm, and easy to eat. And it carries wisdom that's been passed down for generations. One elderly man in Nara shared how this meal helped him recover from a bout of illness in his mid-70s. "I didn't want heavy food," he said, "just something that reminded my body how to feel strong again." Food, when chosen and combined with care, can become the body's most gentle medicine. And in the Japanese way, recovery doesn't have to be forceful. It can be quiet, kind, and deeply effective. A way of living that helps your body absorb protein better. In Japan, the path to healing doesn't begin with medicine. It begins with everyday rituals. Meals, movement, breath, rest, all are treated as part of one continuous flow. For older adults especially, it's not just about what you eat, but how your life holds space for your body to receive that nourishment. One of the most powerful lessons from Japanese culture is the idea of slowness. Meals are not rushed. Elders often sit low to the ground, which naturally encourages upright posture and engages the core. Eating is quiet, intentional, and unhurried. Each bite is chewed slowly, giving time for saliva and enzymes to do their work. Science supports this. The more thoroughly we chew, the better our bodies absorb nutrients, especially amino acids that are crucial for muscle repair. But nourishment doesn't end when the plate is empty. In many Japanese communities, it's common to take a short walk after eating, a stroll through the garden, a lap around the block. These gentle movements help circulation, support digestion, and ease the body into rest. No gym required, just presence and purpose. Another quiet habit is breathing with intention. The practice of ibuki breathing, inhaling slowly through the nose and exhaling firmly through the mouth, helps calm the nervous system and oxygenate the blood. With more oxygen, nutrients are better delivered to your muscles and cells. It's not exercise. It's simply giving your body the air it needs to restore itself. Routine is another quiet pillar of the Japanese lifestyle. Meals are eaten at roughly the same times each day. Drinks are warm, not cold, gentle on the stomach and soothing to the digestive system. Over time, this consistency helps the body know what to expect, making digestion smoother and absorption more efficient. Perhaps the most beautiful part of this way of life is that no one is rushing. There is no pressure to be fixed overnight. There is only respect for the body, the process, and time. One small habit at a time. One meal, one breath, one walk. So what might this look like for you? You could begin your morning with a warm cup of dashi broth. Take a quiet walk after lunch instead of heading straight to the couch. Chew your dinner slowly, without screens or distractions. Take a few deep breaths before bed, not as a task, but as a gift. These aren't dramatic changes, but they change everything. Because when we live in a way that invites nourishment instead of forcing it, we begin to feel a quiet return of strength. Not rushed, not forced, just gently returning. What to avoid when adding protein in later life? As important as it is to nourish the body with good protein, it's just as essential to avoid the things that quietly get in the way, especially as we age. The truth is, many older adults try to eat better, but still don't see results. Why? Because their bodies are overwhelmed, not supported. Let's gently walk through some common missteps and what the Japanese way can teach us instead. First, too much red meat. In an effort to boost protein, many people turn to steaks or burgers, but as we age, red meat becomes harder to digest. It can lead to inflammation, joint pain, or even strain the kidneys. In contrast, traditional Japanese diets use animal protein sparingly, favoring fish, tofu, and fermented ingredients that are lighter and more supportive for the aging body. Then there are protein shakes, especially those high in whey or artificial sweeteners. While popular in the West, these shakes often cause bloating, especially in people over 60 with slower digestion. Some even trigger stomach discomfort or appetite loss. The Japanese alternative? A warm, gentle broth made from katsuobushi, or a soft tofu dish topped with bonito flakes. No bloating, no crash. Another common issue is not drinking enough water. Without adequate hydration, your body struggles to transport nutrients, including amino acids, to your muscles. Many older adults reduce water intake out of fear of nighttime trips to the bathroom. But dehydration quietly slows down recovery. A simple habit? Sip warm tea or water with meals, like the Japanese do, easing digestion while hydrating slowly. One more trap, being too sedentary. Even if you're eating enough protein, without movement, those nutrients won't build muscle. In Japan, elderly people stay active with intention, gardening, walking to the market, sweeping their front steps. It's not about hitting the gym. It's about gentle, daily motion that reminds the body to stay awake. And perhaps most surprisingly, rushing the process. Western culture often encourages us to fix it fast. But healing, especially in older bodies, is not about speed. The Japanese philosophy encourages trust in slow, consistent rituals. So what's the gentle path forward? Start with one warm bowl of miso soup with katsuobushi. Take a 5-minute walk after breakfast. Replace a heavy dinner with steamed tofu and rice. Drink a cup of tea in the afternoon sunlight. Let your body relax into nourishment. Because when we stop forcing and start flowing, the results don't just show up in strength, they show up in how we feel. Lighter, calmer, a little more like ourselves again. How simple Japanese habits enhance protein absorption. In Japan, nutrition is not isolated from daily life. It's woven into it. The way elders eat, move, and even breathe plays a role in how their bodies absorb what they consume. This matters deeply when it comes to protein, especially in the later decades of life, when every gram needs to count. A key habit lies in how meals are eaten. Unlike the hurried meals in many Western homes, Japanese elders take their time. They chew slowly, often sitting on the floor at a low table, which encourages natural posture and engages the core. This simple act, slowing down, helps trigger the full digestive process, allowing the body to extract more amino acids from protein-rich foods like katsuobushi. Another quiet but powerful habit is the after-meal walk. In Japanese culture, elders often stroll gently through gardens or around the neighborhood after eating. It's not for exercise, it's for digestion. Light movement helps nutrients circulate, supports blood sugar balance, and tells the body, we're still active. Let's use this fuel. Warmth also matters. Warm miso soup, warm tea, warm hands holding the bowl. Heat signals comfort to the gut, inviting it to relax and do its work. In contrast, cold drinks and icy foods can slow digestion, something older bodies are already working hard to manage. There's also routine. Meals are eaten at regular times each day. There is no chaos around eating, no skipping, no late-night snacks. This gentle predictability trains the digestive system to work efficiently. The body learns to expect, absorb, and use what it's given. Even breathing is part of this ecosystem of absorption. The Japanese practice of ibuki breathing, slow inhaling through the nose, then a strong, deliberate exhale through the mouth, calms the nervous system and helps regulate circulation. That better circulation? It helps carry protein to muscles where it's needed most. The result is not just better digestion, it's better function, better energy, and a deeper sense of peace after meals instead of discomfort. In Japan, elders don't count protein. They live in a way that lets the body make the most of what it's given. And that difference between forcing in nutrition and living in sync with it makes all the difference. What to gently avoid when eating more protein with age? For many older adults trying to rebuild strength, it's tempting to do what seems obvious. Eat more protein. But without understanding how the body changes with age, some of these efforts can backfire, creating more discomfort than benefit. One common issue is relying too much on red meat. While beef and pork are high in protein, they can be heavy and hard to digest. Especially with reduced stomach acid in older age, these foods often sit in the stomach, leading to bloating, gas, or even joint inflammation. Japanese elders rarely rely on red meat. Instead, they turn to lighter sources: tofu, fish, fermented soy, and of course, katsuobushi. Another pitfall is the protein shake shortcut. While fast and convenient, these drinks are often cold, overly processed, and filled with sweeteners or additives. For aging digestive systems, they may feel foreign, rushed in, rushed out, with little absorption. Warm, whole foods, like a simple miso soup with tofu and katsuobushi, offer the same benefits in a form the body can truly receive. Skipping hydration is another quiet mistake. Protein needs water to move through the body and reach the muscles. Without enough fluids, especially warm ones, amino acids don't reach their destination. That's why tea is served with every meal in Japan, not just as a cultural ritual, but as a biological necessity. And perhaps the most overlooked mistake, trying to change everything at once. In Western culture, we tend to jump into big routines, more supplements, more workouts, stricter diets, but the body, especially in older age, responds better to gentleness. The Japanese approach is to shift one habit at a time, trust in consistency, and allow the body space to adapt. So instead of protein powders, start with warm dashi. Instead of steak, try tofu topped with katsuobushi. Instead of rushing, chew slowly. And instead of fixing everything at once, let one quiet change lead the way. Because your body isn't broken. It's simply waiting to be supported. Kindly, patiently, and with deep respect. What if strength didn't come from effort, but from harmony? What if rebuilding muscle wasn't about more food, more shakes, more urgency, but about better rhythms, better ingredients? A better way of treating your body, not like a machine, but like a garden. The Japanese way reminds us, health is not something you chase, it's something you cultivate. One meal, one breath, one quiet habit at a time. Katsuobushi may be just one food, but within it lies a way of life. It invites you to slow down, to warm your digestion, to nourish not just your muscles, but your whole self. It doesn't demand, it offers. So as you consider your next step, maybe it's a walk after lunch. Maybe it's choosing miso soup instead of a protein bar. Maybe it's chewing your food a little longer tonight. Whatever it is, let it be gentle. Let it feel good. Because healing doesn't have to be hard. Sometimes it starts with a bowl of warm broth and a handful of dancing flakes. Health information on YouTube is not meant as medical advice or universal treatment. Please talk to your doctor or healthcare provider for personalized guidance. If you believe you are experiencing a medical emergency, contact your doctor or emergency services immediately.